Hello and welcome to Slammers Weekly. I'm Beau. I will be your host for today. I am joined by recent Gap Mid-Am champion Dave Mecca via Zoom. Dave, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you very much. No problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know, you're from Scranton and kind of an unknown in the section a bit. All right, some of you guys coming down. And, the main reason, obviously, we have you on is because of the Mid-Am. But before we get into that, I'd really like to get your perspective on some things and hear a little bit about your background. So if you could just tell us, I guess, where did you start playing up that way? And just, what's your golf history been up to this point?
Yeah, I grew up in this area, the Scranton, Clark Summit area. My dad had me playing up at Mannon Country Club, which is just a 5,500 yard course. It's no name spelled backwards. They have like 4 holes that like surround the parking lot that I just would play over and over again with my dad. So I grew up playing there until college, and that's actually Brandon Matthews, PGA Tour player. That was where he grew up. So we were playing junior golf against each other, junior club championships at Mannon.
No way. So you played there throughout high school as well?
Yeah. Our school played at Glen Oak Country Club, which is where I play now, but I was a member there, a junior member all through college, and then I joined there 2 years after I finished school. But I played at Abington Heights High School. I was not the best player on the team. I went and I walked on to Hofstra University. We were low-level Division I, but still Division I. I was captain my sophomore year. I played in every single tournament there.
Well, you say Hofstra's low-level. I mean, we were really low-level at Ryder. I mean, we played in the same tournaments, and you guys were probably beating us by 20 shots a day. So
we never finished outside of last in our division. We had a ton of Southern schools. You'd come out and conference championships would be at the end of April. And like in this area, you played, 1-2 tournaments maybe by the end of April. So it was really tough to travel down south and play against them every year.
Yeah, they're already better than you, and their games are sharper. And it's like, yeah, we just have no shot.
Exactly. And it's different grass, different types of courses that we just never excelled in. We occasionally get ranked higher than some other teams in our division based on our fall season, and then we'd just collapse in conference.
Colonial, right? You guys are CAA?
Yeah. Yep. CAA, Colonial Athletic Association.
It's like William and Mary and
yeah, JMU was in our division. College of Charleston joined up. UNC Wilmington, Drexel.
JMU's good. Yeah, we were just happy to beat like St. Francis of Brooklyn. That was like the only team that would keep us from coming in dead last at our tournaments. It was sad. I mean, you guys were out at Talmore, right? At the LaSalle tournament?
Yeah, we played Talmore. We actually won that tournament, I think. That was like maybe we didn't win that one. We won a different one. We had a player that won in 50-mile-an-hour unplayable winds. It was ridiculous.
Did he actually?
I'm very happy to. He shot 74-74 under question. Nobody knows. He was a known cheater.
Well, you guys, it's funny because you say that because the only time I crossed paths with your team, there was a big cheating scandal. A guy played with one of your guys, and like I'm just making up numbers, right? But it was close to it. Like say he really shot like 77. And we go to the board at the end and it says like 71 or 72. And someone's like, dude, I play with this guy. He didn't, he shot 77. What? And it actually turns out that he took the card before he turned it in and he erased it and changed all the scores and gave the card in.
That was, where was that? That was down at,
it was at Talmore, I believe. I'm almost positive, unless it happened twice.
I don't, it might have happened twice. I know of a different course. It was down at William and Mary's tournament. He got caught riding on the back of the cart in from the, shotgun starts. So you finish out at whatever hole and you're riding on the back of the cart and he's like on the top bouncing around erasing scores. Yeah. So our coach was pissed. He got suspended, but like, he couldn't take away his scholarship or whatever, so he came back. And
Yeah, that's as sad as it gets. I mean, talk about egregious cheating. If you're willing to do that, you're willing to do anything. I mean,
which kind of sucked because like he was extremely competitive and he cared, and I always liked playing by him because if he made a bogey, he'd stop and watch, and if like I made a birdie, he was real happy for me. It was he was a really good teammate. If you just take away this, you can't really take away cheating. Cheating is pretty bad.
yeah, you got to just tell him to just keep his card and a marker. Just take the pencil away from the guy.
You're right.
Seems like he's an all right guy.
Yeah. Well, so that was a whole thing, but yeah, Tullamore. Would be happy not going there again.
Yeah, I got stuck playing a gap match there a few weeks ago, and I just I never again. I just would rather play anywhere other than that place.
There's a lot of courses on my list. I know in a past episode you guys were talking about Iram. You didn't know a lot of the courses in this area. Iram's on my list.
That's a do not play.
Just a very hilly, slopey. There's a couple courses in this area that are just, they do what they can with the land they have.
Yeah, they were very limited back in the 20s and 30s building these places on these mountains. I mean, they just couldn't really move much land, and it's like there's no matter which way you route the course, you're going to be stuck with like 6 shit holes. It's just a matter of how shitty they really are going to be, right?
Yeah.
So I guess leading into that, the Anthracite, am I saying that right?
Yes, the Anthracite Golf Association. I played junior golf with them growing up. They put on great tournaments. Pat Lloyd is the director. He's been the director there for God knows how long. And they put on great events. You get a lot of people that, first time tournament, this is their first time going out to playing tournaments. And then you get a lot of players that are like myself and John Barone and, some juniors coming up that are probably going to make waves, like Billy Pabst I expect him to play well in these next gap majors if he plays. And then there's some juniors that made it through US Open locals up there. So these are all guys that have played in this Anthracite Golf Association. And then as of I don't know when the partnership started, but I only started playing in gap majors. This was only my 4th one.
I read that, and I just the article in general, it just kind of made it seem like you guys have like a chip on your shoulder or something up there. Is that just them trying to spin something there, or do you guys really feel like...
We definitely, I wouldn't say a chip, but definitely some camaraderie. I love to see those guys playing well. I always, when I'm looking on leaderboards for Gap, I'm looking for, Eric Williams, myself, John Barone, and then, anybody, Jamie Egan from my club was playing in it. So I'm always checking the leaderboard for his name, and any other guys from our region, I'm always looking.
And what do you think of them having qualifiers up there? Like we mentioned Iram, and I know it's been a few years now, and one of the topics that comes up is that, they're not getting huge turnouts up there. Do you see potential up there, or do you really think is there like this whole wave of guys sitting on the bench that you're like, why aren't these guys playing? Or is it just not that many tournament golfers up there?
That's one thing is you have a lot of people up here that are good. We some of our member guests are taken pretty seriously up here. We have probably 4 or 5 major clubs in this area. But it's difficult to transition from member guest style, better ball style into individual tournament golf. And it's a little grindy at times, and I think that turns off a lot of people up here, but we definitely have the talent. I've been trying to get friends to play and qualify, and I know a lot of the time I'll have people from here and friends playing that'll go down to, 5 ponds and qualify, or like somewhere where there's more people, more spots.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is the courses they host at up here. I know a lot of people don't like to qualify at Iram. A lot of people don't like to qualify at Valley.
Yeah, I guess they don't have many choices up there, and that's kind of the issue.
Yeah, that's the issue, is getting courses, getting these country clubs to agree to host these qualifiers is difficult.
I mean, I guess difficult, but if you get 12 guys, it's not so difficult. You get about, tell them that give them three tee times, and I'm joking. But no, but I mean, I get it. You got Scranton up there, you got Huntsville, being some of the bigger name places, and then you're not going to get one of those for a qualifier, right? It's just not really it doesn't really match the level of what you're looking for. Like they if anything, they could host a major, right? And then you kind of take to that next tier of courses, and the tier of courses up there just sounds like it's not the quality that you're going to see in Philly or the main line, and it's just a different area.
No, they got a lot more money down there. It's the quality is better, the weather is better. That's the next thing is these courses in April and May are not really tournament condition.
Right. Not even close, probably. I mean, yeah, down here, they're, where you guys are probably 3 weeks behind us, I would guess.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we know a little bit more about the Anthracite Association, a little bit more about yourself, let's move on to what I am really excited to hear about, and I'm sure some listeners are as well. The Gap Mid-Am at Olde York last week. Going into the event, did you really have any expectations? Was your game sharp? Where you're like, hey, I have a legitimate chance at winning this? Or are you just kind of thinking, hey, I'm just kind of happy to be here, just check this place out and see what I can do?
Yeah, so this story starts in winter. So over winter, I played in just simulator golf here. So I played, my Glen Oak has 2 TrackMan simulators they set up, and it's like a minute away from work. So I'll go on my lunch break like 2 times a week. And I played in this TrackMan Next Tour, and they had, $150,000 purses against pros from all over the world played in this. So it was $130 to join, but since I'm an amateur, they capped my winnings at 1,000. So I needed to finish top 13, got you like $1,000, got me like $1,000. And in my 3rd or 4th tournament, I finished like 2nd, I think, or 3rd. I was like 1st place in US. I would have won like $6,200, but I had to settle for 1,000.
That's pretty sick.
It was a really cool experience. I almost won the tournament on the last hole, but that got me into like their order of merit finals and stuff. So that was definitely heart race. Like, you're playing indoor golf and like my hands are sweating. So it was definitely, I was coming out of the winter thinking, all right, I'm like, my game's going to be sharp this year. I'm ready to play. And I get to my first gap match and I'm like lost. I stunk. I lost. I did not play well. And then a week later, we were kind of in the rain on that week 2 gap match. And again, I played awful. I was topping shots. I was all over the place. I was putting. I completely lost hope with my putter. I think I've switched putters 7 times this year. I was all over the place. And then that was a Sunday, week 2. I got home Sunday and like I had a rash in the center of my back, and I said like this, I thought it was poison ivy, but it just kind of looked ugly. And then I went to the doctor on Tuesday and I had shingles. So I it started to get worse. It spread around under my armpit, around to my chest, and I was just in a lot of pain. It was uncomfortable. So I did not golf at all for a good week and a half. So from whatever week 2 was, and I didn't start swinging a club until 4 days. It was like the Thursday before my U.S. Open qualifier at Huntsville, which was May 15th.
So basically, you didn't hit a good golf shot outside of into a screen until like May.
Yeah, I was not playing. I went into the U.S. Open qualifier expecting nothing, and I put together a decent round. I was 1 under with 4 to play, and I almost made it. And I ended up shooting 2 over, I think. But
Huntsville, right?
Yeah, really tough course. They
really
tipped
tough.
it out.
Yeah, really tough from the tips. That's 1 under. That's kind of that's really
I played with Kyle Reifers, who's kind of a low-level PGA Tour Korn Ferry guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was an awesome experience.
What did he shoot?
He shot 1 under, lost in a playoff.
Oh.
But I think that was his first time seeing the course, so it was pretty good.
Luckily, you didn't bring those tops out in front of him. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I brought the putter out. He watched some short misses.
It's always something.
So I didn't get any. I think I played 1 full round on the Sunday before the mid-am, and I got smoked by 2 guys at our club. We played a match and we got beat pretty bad. And then went into Monday again thinking, I do not have my best stuff. I was Sunday night in my basement on my putting green, just choosing a putter, going through. I have a wall of about 10 putters, just trying to pick one. So I chose one. I stuck with it. I went Monday early putting green, was practicing. I have like a little putting board kinda, and I was using that. And then played okay on Monday. I got the ball around. I missed a couple short putts, but I think playing in the morning had a huge advantage rather than playing in the afternoon on day 1.
Mm-hmm.
The course was a little softer. I wasn't bouncing balls over greens and stuff.
Yeah, I played in the afternoon and agreed. I mean, it seems like it's always better to play in the morning in this stuff this time of the year. It's very, very rare as an advantage to go out and at 1 o'clock.
So that's what happened to me last year at Jericho. I played in the afternoon and I just felt like it was tougher. I had my game last year. I had just qualified for US Open sectionals. Like I was playing really well. I medaled in like the Philly Am qualifier at Berwick, and I came out and I just felt like I was playing tougher golf than everybody else.
Dude, I had this. I think I had a 140 tee time, or I was one of the last groups off at Jericho, and yeah, same thing. I remember seeing some of the scores. Guys are like 5-6 under, and I'm like, when I go out here, I'm like, dude, this is that's not out here for anybody.
Did you start in the front or back?
I started on the back, which I just
which was hard.
So hard.
So I start out and I was just getting beaten up.
Terrible. Yeah, I shot 44-34 that day. I was chopping the back nine up so bad. I had multiple situations where I was like, if I miss this, then I'm going in. Like if I miss this, I can only dig so big of a hole. Like and I played like 2 under coming in or something. But it was that same thing, and it was. I think the lowest score was even par or whatever in the afternoon. But yeah, it just seems like it's never a good thing when you get that afternoon tee time. So at least this year you get the morning tee time.
This year I was smart. I requested that morning tee time.
And then you sit home and you watch everybody else's numbers just balloon all day.
I couldn't believe it. I shot 3 over and I came in. I said, someone's going low. Someone's putting out a 4-5 under. And then I drove home, got home, and I was sitting watching the scores and just watching my name go from 40th to 30th to 20th. And I'm like, what is happening? And by the end of the day, I finished at 11th.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you go from like yeah, I'll probably make the cut, but whatever. I'll just be like a middle tee time guy. And all of a sudden, you're like, I can win this thing.
Yeah, I'm getting texts from people that are watching that are saying, "Hey, like you're not out of this." And so I teed it up on Tuesday, and I didn't know what to think. I wasn't going out there trying to win. I just wanted to post a solid number, and I wanted to shoot under par and see what would happen.
Speaking of Tuesday, you go in with that mindset, and then you double the second hole. Does your mindset change a little bit after that? Or, I mean,
yeah, I completely. I was perfect right in the middle of the fairway, 120 yards out, and I caught all ball, sent it flying over the green, almost into the parking lot. Ended with a double, and I walked off, and I said, "All right, I guess it's not going to happen today. Let's just try to get around."
So at that point, you're probably thinking, you go in, you're like, hey, I'm a few shots off the lead. You make that double and you go, I'm 6-7 shots now. Like it's probably like, it's almost like I just got to put my head down and play golf. I can't even really think about winning this thing. But then you kind of right the ship. You get on the par train.
Yeah, birdied 2 holes later. I made a birdie, nice 10-foot putt, and I said, "Wow, that putt felt good. Finally, I made a putt." And then, I played solid golf. I was happy with how I played, and then, I stuff a wedge on 8 and make a 4-footer for birdie. I chip up on 9 and make another 6-footer for birdie, and then 10 I drain a 25-footer for birdie, and I think, oh, hold up. And I've been like typing in the scores on the Golf Genius or whatever, and for the first time after 10 I flipped to the side to see the results.
At that point, you're ahead of the field too, so you kind of have to check. It's one thing if you're in the final group and you kind of have guys around you that you can pace yourself with, but when you're ahead like that, you got to look and say, what do I have to do coming in here? Do I have to play 4 under, or can I play 1 under or even? Right? Like how far?
Yeah, exactly. Because there aren't many birdies out there. I knew that going in. Like we were kind of playing midday, so the course was firming up. There's not a lot of birdies to be made at that course. You just can't. Where they put those pins, you just can't get the ball close. You're either going to spin it off the front, or you're going to hit it too far and it's going to bounce and go over.
Exactly.
So you just have to play safe. You have to play within yourself and try to leave yourself uphill putts. Try to keep that ball on the green to where you can 2-putt. Yeah,
and hopefully you get a 20. Like the 2 holes you birdied were 2 holes you would say are birdie holes, right? 8 and 9, I would say, are probably your 2 best chances on the whole course at birdie.
Yeah.
And then 10, you drain a bomb, and that's what you need. You need to make that 20-footer out there because you're not going to put it within 10 feet a ton, right, with some of those pins and how firm they are. So you check the scores and you go, okay, where are you at now?
So I was 1 back at that point. I was at 1 over, and I saw John Barone was at even. And I said, all right, he's got a lot of golf left. Maybe I'll birdie 12, but like I'm not going to try. I was just trying to get in or just not really survive, but just play solid golf and hit the center of the greens and make 2 putts.
When you saw that you were 1 back, did anything change? Did you pucker up? Did your hands get a little sweaty?
A little bit. You can't not. I went off. I made that birdie. I typed in the scores. I teed off on 11, and the cart started driving out. And then you could tell, like, all right, they just saw I made 3 in a row, and now they're going to start taking videos and pictures, and you kind of know you're in it. And it feels like a real. I mean, it is a major tournament, but I love playing in gap tournaments because they care. They're out there watching and they care.
Yeah, and the community cares. Everybody's following. It's definitely it's a big deal. So you make the birdie on 10, and then I saw the cards. You par 11 through 16. Were those pars pretty routine? Were you just hitting center of the greens 2-putting, or did you have anything crazy in there?
Let's see, 11. That pin was back left, and I was front on the very front. So that was a really great two putt. 12. I was putting for birdie up the hill. They had that pin on the very front of the green, which was a ridiculous pin. And I missed, I blew my birdie putt by. I probably had 5 feet coming down this slope where if I miss this 5-footer, I'm 20 feet down off the green. And I just buried that in the back.
Like a double to get those carts dispersed back to another group, right?
Exactly. Made a couple good two putts. The 16th hole, it was just a really difficult par 3. I think almost everybody bogeyed that. And I was just chipping from short of the green, and I only had a foot maybe to land this ball. And I missed my spot long, and it slammed into the pin and stopped 2 feet away.
Oh, that's awesome. That's such a good feeling, man. Because when stuff like that starts happening, it compounds, and you start believing like, this is my day, right? Like, this is it.
Yeah. I did that, and I said, well, I guess you got to be lucky sometimes if it's going to go your way. And then on 17, I smoke a drive. I have 90 yards in, stuff a wedge to 5 feet, and I'm thinking, this is mine. Like, I have got this now. Like, Barone's going to have to play that 16th hole, and that's like a bogey for 80% of the field.
Right.
And I just really wanted this putt, and looking back, like, I didn't need it. I could have, it was a fast downhill 5-footer that I could have just lagged up there or just played it safe. And I tried to make it, and I blew it 6 feet by and then missed the par putt coming back.
Where was the pin there?
Back.
And you were just past it?
Yeah.
That green's pretty nuts. I mean, at least it was on
difficult green. I think a lot of people struggle with that hole because if you weren't coming in with a wedge, you couldn't stop the ball on that back tier.
Right.
So I only had 90 yards in from a perfect lie, and I landed it, 6 feet short of the pin and bounced it 5 feet long. But I mean, everybody else was probably either spinning it off the front or bouncing it long.
Yeah, where the pin was on Monday, I missed the cut, but I did play Monday, and yeah, I thought that was I did the same thing. I went like 8 feet past and putted like 15 feet past coming the other way. So I could see even up top it was steep, but so you have a 5-footer, you get a little aggressive with it, and then how much did you have coming back?
6.
What was it like?
More coming back.
What was it, a right edge or?
The next one, they all thought I doubled. So everyone
looked like a tragedy.
It looked like a tragedy, and everybody dispersed. It was just like I did that, and everybody was gone.
Yeah, that's a shame. Poor kid.
So I walk out and I go, I did it again. Like, there it is, done. So I was planning on hitting 3-wood on 18T, but I pulled the driver and I crushed it. And now that I think about it, if I had not done that and hit a 3-wood and been really nervous, I don't know what I would have made on 18.
It's weird how that works, right? How that bogey just pisses you off and you get up and just scream one down 18. And all of a sudden, if you made that par and you're like, okay, now I got to hit this. It's weird. It's so weird. It probably just traded the shot for you.
Yeah, I think it would have. I think I would have missed a short putt because my hands start to shake when I think it really matters, and I get real nervous over short putts. And the way I've been putting, I don't think I would have done great, but I'm happy it was good enough.
So you smash a driver down 18. What do you have, like a buck, a little over 100 in, or a little like?
I'm trying to think. No, I had 95 maybe. That's
not a green that you want 150 or 60 under pressure into either.
No. even with a wedge. Like I didn't know what to do. I had no. That's just where they put that pin was right on the top, right on the crest of the upslope there. So you either took a wedge, tried to, muscle a sand wedge, and you land there, short of the pin and it spins right off the front. Or you try to take one off, like a gap wedge, and you bounce it by the pin and it goes long.
And anytime, for me at least, anytime under pressure that I have a wedge shot and I try to take something off, it brings in the pull. Like it brings in the slight pull.
Yes.
Right? Not like a huge pull, but you pull it 2 yards and you're already taking less club. You got the hook spin. You can really end up in some bad spots there.
Yeah, for me, it's the push.
It's you're the pusher. Okay. You take off and okay. Because I'm more of a thrower of the club, so that makes sense. The toe closes and it goes to shit. So you hit the wedge. Where'd you end up?
Spun it off the front anyway.
Spun it right off the front of the green. Off the front. But you're putting back uphill. What do you have? Like how many feet?
I was off the front of the green. Maybe I'm trying to think. It was like 35 feet, maybe 30 feet coming up the hill. And I was lucky.
Please tell me you put it to a tap in.
I did. I had a player before me. I had to mark my ball off the green, and he putted, showed me the line and everything. And it was, I maybe like a foot and a half, stopped short. It was going right in the hole. And I thought I needed it.
No, it's one of those ones where you're just like, it's probably good that you thought you had it, I guess. Because if you thought you had a 2-putt, maybe you're not as aggressive with it, right? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it comes up a little shorter.
Well, I didn't want, even though I thought I had it, I didn't want to blow it by. Because last year in our Coal Scuttle Championship, I had a very similar putt from off the front of the green. All I needed to do was 2-putt to win. And I blew it 15 feet by. I actually got lucky. I nailed the hole with the flag in it, and it still like rolled 15 feet by. And then I missed the one coming back, and then it rolled down like to 20 feet by. And I had to make a 20-footer after blowing 2 putts just to get into a playoff.
That's crazy. And you made the 20-footer?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Made the 20-footer, eagled the second playoff hole, and then lost.
Holy shit. I mean, to me, I don't know what it is, but there's nothing more humiliating than like under pressure just having one of those blasts.
Nothing.
Where you hit it like 50, like you just look like you've never played before.
Nope. And then
like this looks crazy.
You have to like settle down and read the next putt, and everybody's watching. And you're like, I was reading that second putt and I'm like, I have no idea what this does. Not a clue. Right. It's time for me to putt. I've been reading this way too long. Like I just watched it go by. Like I have no choice but to just hit this thing.
So I've been in the same situation. Like you said, where like you don't know what it's gonna do, but the clock's on you. You can't you can't 4-corner this, right? It's like, dude, you gotta just pick something and go with it. That's so funny. Yeah. There's nothing worse than blasting one of those putts by and then limping the next one up, and that looks really bad. And you're like, man, this guy is like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
So you end up tapping in for par. You think you maybe needed it, but you're probably thinking playoff, right? Worst case, I guess. Like you needed it to win.
I thought I was going to be one short. Shaking everybody's hand. They all were like, "Oh, nice try." Like just 1 or 2 more, almost. And I texted my wife. I said, "I'm going to lose by 1. I just feel it." So I was just sitting up there on the patio, kind of waiting, and I had a buddy at home text me like, "Hey, like go to the range, don't watch, just get out of there, stay loose." So I went over to the range, and Ben Feld was over there on 16. So I watched him make a bogey, and Barone was on, I think, a group ahead, and he had just made bogey there and then a bogey on 17. So I'm like pulling up the scores, and then my name was at 3rd place, and then it jumps back up into 1st. And I'm like, oh boy. Just hitting balls at the range, trying to stay loose, but not really having a session.
Then when you go to that first, then you're like, wow, this is really going to be a heartbreaker now, because now he's going to like birdie. You always think worst case scenario. Like now he's going to birdie 18 and just break my heart, because I thought I had no chance. now I'm like, holy crap, I might win this thing. Then he's gonna, and you
Yeah, I was on the phone with my friend. He was talking, calming me down, and then I got a text from another guy who was watching at home. He was like, congratulations, like awesome, nice job. And I look up, and the last group is driving their carts up on 18 in the fairway. They weren't even done. And I said, wait, like I'm looking at them right now. They're still over there. Like he could birdie.
You're here. You're here. Yeah, you're live at the event. This isn't like a delay or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, wait, like, are you watching? Like, did he bogey 17? Like, am I missing something? And he goes, oh, wait, oh crap. No.
Oh my God.
And I said, oh, that sucks. And so I just was sitting there waiting and pounding balls. And then after a little bit, I figured they were done, and nobody had come up to me. Like, I knew they knew I was at the range, but nobody was there. Nobody was, saying anything. So there were two, I think, Gap interns driving a cart. And I said, hey, are they done on 18? Like, they had earpieces. I was like, are they done over there? And they were like, oh yeah, some Dave Mecca kid won. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, that's me. I did it.
That's incredible. That's how you found out you won.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, congratulations. I was like, oh, yes.
That's awesome. That's a great story. It's a little different than you see on TV, right? Like,
yeah.
The wife and the kids hugging you. And
yeah, they got the camera and the guy.
Whatever. You're just like sitting on the range and somebody's like, oh yeah, some schmuck Dave Mecca won.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. That's it's crazy the emotional swings that you can have in golf, and it sounds like what you went through, and say, I mean, dating back to the whole ground, obviously a crazy emotional swing, but even the last hour, it's nothing like that in life, where it's right? So erratic.
Hey, you're always just one shot away from finding your swing and saying, oh, now I can go out there and win tournaments, and one shot from this putter's done. I need a new one. I'm never going to make a putt with this thing.
Right. We get so fixated on the end result sometimes, and we kind of, it's always, everything's better or worse than it really is. It's like, hey, this is who I am as a golfer. And like you said, if Barone, finishes stronger and beats you, you're going to be like, that 3-putt on 17 would halt you forever. Right. Like you would be thinking about that. And now it's like, you don't even care about it. It's like, yeah, I was aggressive. I made a run at it,
right?
like whatever. It's so weird how you're like, your perception of the events that occurred can change based upon the end results. It's very interesting. Yeah. Now you love that putter.
Yeah. I might stay in my bag for like 2 weeks.
Oh man, that putter, Jocelyn. I've had some buddies over the years who are like that. And it's like every time you play with them, they're taking the plastic off of something. And it's like they have the Golf Galaxy sticker running up the side just in case they have to return it.
Oh yeah, Golf WRX is my friend.
Yeah, one day it's like, yeah, I'm a mallet guy. I'm straight back, straight through. I got fitted, and then they're trying to close the toe with a blade, and it's like, man, dude, I just think you stink at putting. I don't know.
Well, I go arm lock. I switch back and forth between that. My dad, he's like a one handicap. He's a chest putter, so he holds it out now and does the broomstick.
So it's like a long lineage of. Just those Meccas.
Yep. Putting has not been in the family.
My family's the opposite. We're the worst ball strikers imaginable, but we can all putt. It's very odd, but we can just hit balls everywhere. So just about the venue, Olde York, was that your first time playing there?
Yeah, first time. When I go, a couple of years ago, I started doing this where I have an app called like Swing U, I think it's called. It just like a GPS overhead view where you can like tap around the course and it shows you all the numbers from the tees and stuff. And I take out a piece of notebook paper and I write down every hole, all the bunker carries from every tee that it has me. So if I, one day they have the tee up, I can look and it says, -10 to the next tee, and I can adjust my numbers. But I pretty much map out my rounds beforehand. And it does me pretty well. The only thing I don't get is elevation changes. So I kind of got to adjust that when I see the hole.
Yeah, I mean, yardages out there are one thing in Olde York. I mean, I guess there goes my excuse for shooting 81. I was like, I've never seen this place. Like, I don't know how anybody can play this place blind. I'm like, I lost 5 shots out there. Every excuse in the book. And then you go out and win the tournament blind. So that kind of makes me feel pretty shitty, to be honest with you.
Sorry.
But I mean,
hey, it's all in the preparation.
I do think out there had to be a little bit of element of luck in your first round, because you probably missed a couple shots and you're like,
yeah,
you happen to miss it in spots that didn't just completely kill you. And you're like, wow. Right. Like sometimes you play courses and that's just how it works out. Like you just,
yeah.
Sometimes even with drives, you pull a drive, you didn't realize there was out of bounds over there and you're like a yard in bounds and you're like, wow, like that was, was that close to being like out of this tournament. Right. Similar, I feel like, to the greens at Olde York. If you miss it in the wrong spot there, I mean, it's tough to make bogey in some spots.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I a lot of the time I was just playing to the center, but like that third hole on day one, it's over the water, this par 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking, all right, there's a big slope on the left. Pin is like kind of mid-right. So I was like, all right, maybe the better play, if I miss it, miss right and get up and down, and I miss right short of that bunker, and I'm completely screwed.
Yeah, no, I was over there too. No chance.
No chance at all. Just insta bogey.
Yeah.
So that kind of, there were definitely shots like that on day one where you don't know that 15th hole, that par 5. That's one that it really helps to play. Like,
oh God, yeah, I made a greenside double there in 2. It was an absolute.
I did the same thing. I chipped four times.
Yeah, same. It was. Oh man, that was humiliating. There's no worse feeling. I haven't done that in a while. A same ball double on a par 5, and I was thinking, wow. It feels like you really have to count. Like I'm like, did I make an 8? I'm trying to like 7. I'm like counting them up because it's so many shots. There's no penalty shots, and you're like, to hit 7 shots.
Yeah, that was my front 9. I had started good. I made a birdie, so I was 1 under going into that, and just I had a stretch where I didn't do good. I would double there. I bogeyed 18, bogeyed 1, or I parred 1, I bogeyed 2, and then 3.
So you got to at least see a little bit of the Olde York teeth. Do you like Olde York? I mean, what would you say? I mean, obviously you have great memories there, but if you separate the emotions from the actual course, what's your take?
Yeah. I thought it was in fantastic condition. I loved the greens. They were really smooth. I don't know. I think on a normal day, I'd enjoy putting on those for normal non-tournament pins. It's not a long course. I just feel like it's kind of an easy course that they made difficult.
Yeah, I agree. It's
like when I was looking at it on the overhead view, I was thinking, man, this course is easy. Like it is not long. It is. I'm going to be driving 2 of these greens. I'm going to be cutting corners. I'm warming up on my range, trying to hit a 50-yard hook with the 3-wood. Par 5s weren't too menacing, and then you get to the course, and every green is up and down and up and down. The pins are tucked. You have to miss in this spot on the green in order to get the ball to stay on the green. And all of a sudden it's like, man, I'm 3 over.
Yeah, I got ambushed out there. I felt the same way. Except for me, I was 8 over. I was playing on my Tuesday, I think, by like the 8th hole.
Yeah. So I didn't hate it, but it's not my favorite course in the Philly area.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I think there's some potential there. I mean, I think the buildings and the setting of the course are really cool. Just the whole drive in and
yeah, I agree. That drive in was awesome.
Yeah, and that area, I think the best part of the course is 1 and the 10 tee shot and the 12th approach and the 18th green and that whole setting there. You're like, wow, this place is sweet. And then you kind of get to some other spots of the course where you're like, But yeah, like you said, conditions were good. I just think they need to flatten some greens out and maybe add a couple tee boxes and it could definitely improve the place. But yeah, it is what it is. Like you said, not your favorite, but also certainly some fun elements to it and certainly some good shots out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough test of golf and hey, I won.
Yeah, exactly. You weathered the storm better than any of us. What's next? What else you got on the schedule? I know you're like we were talking before. You're exempt for the Jersey Mid-Am. You got some crazy exemptions coming in now.
Yeah, I was not exempt before this for the Philly Open, so I got to decide if I'm going to play in the Philly Open or the Patterson Cup. Obviously, I think the Philly Open is a more prestigious tournament. I think it's a bigger tournament than Patterson, but the Patterson Cup also includes the Silver Cross. So I'm going to play in the Philly Am, which is June 12th. So if I put together 2 good stroke play rounds there, then I think it would be better for me to play in the Patterson Cup and try for some Silver Cross points instead of playing in the Open.
You got to pick or choose. You're saying you can't. It's just too much time for work, probably.
Yeah. I don't think I could play in both. I got vacations that I want to do, and I only get 2 weeks off from work, so I'm like already kind of finagling with that time and stretching it out as long as I can.
Come on, your family knows that golf's more important than family vacations. Come on. The guy's going for the Slam this year. I mean, he's got the Mid-Am on. You can't skip a leg.
I wish. I enjoy stepping away from golf. I definitely get golfed out a little bit in July when I'm playing a lot of member guests and I'm away every weekend, and then during the week I'm gone. I have to driving down to Philly is not the worst. It's an easy drive, but it's still a drive.
Perspective is the best thing in life, and certainly with golf, it's amazing how quickly you can get burned out and how quickly you can get hooked again. I just took a week off and today was the first time I played since last Monday. And I'm just like, I'm so excited right now. And after last Monday, I was like, oh, I need a break. I'm burned out. And now I'm like back to being addicted again. So we're all a little crazy. And like I said, that perspective helps. But I guess one last thing I had. Were you sober that whole time at the Mid-Am? Any substance intake at all?
No substance intake, not before, not after. No, I'm not a big drinker. Beer gives me headaches.
I don't know if you hit the pen. I don't know there's a bunch of stuff going on in those Mid-Ams. I saw clouds of smoke. I saw beer bottles everywhere.
Oh yeah, some people go nuts. No, I took my trophy. Thursday night is our league night at Glen Oak, so I took my trophy there. I filled it up with Miller Lite and had a good time on Thursday.
I love that.
All the guys in the club were really awesome. They were very happy, very proud of me, and they celebrated as well.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, look, Dave, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here. Some really good stuff here, and best of luck the rest of the season. I'm definitely going to be following you, as I'm sure everyone else in Gap is now. I mean, you probably weren't a guy that got a whole lot of favorites on the leaderboard. You weren't getting a lot of stars next to your name, but
No.
I've added you to my list, so I'll be following and
Awesome.
yeah, keep the magical season going.
Well, I'll just be trying to make the cut at the Philly M. It's been real low last couple of years.
This stuff just keeps getting harder. Everyone's getting better, I think. I don't know what it is, but
well, I've played Huntington Valley. I've played Lookaway.
Both good tracks, so yeah, no excuses there, right?
Beautiful courses.
Yeah, I love both those tracks. All right, man. Well, I hope to see you around. I'm sure we'll bump into each other. Thanks again, and yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks for having me.